Good evening. It is I, your boss, your ruler, king of the underworld, ruler of all things evil, lord of darkness, and no, not like that wrestler from WWE, the one that you often wonder whether I exist or not. It's possible, right now, I could just be a voice in your head. Maybe this isn't a podcast. Maybe it's just you finally succumbing to your schizophrenia. Maybe you're just crazy. Maybe you should kill yourself and find out. I just come back from collecting the soul of a child. Now, don't get upset. The child was once a murderous beast in his past life, and if he lived in this one, he would have been a snare to you all. But I didn't do any of you a favor. No, this credit should be given to the mother, who was an alcoholic. So it was just a matter of time before a miscarriage happened. Didn't anyone ever tell you? All of you have been on this earth several times before, since the beginning of time. Different sexes, perhaps, but you've all been here before. Do you think that all of those sins just go away if you don't atone for them? No. But then you ask, if I, or that man who shall remain nameless, is the keeper of souls, whether good or bad, how are we able to return back to earth? Is suffering or bliss in the second life only temporary? Excellent questions. 3 things I would like to respond in a rebuttal. For one, you all ask too many damn questions. 2, I don't like any of you enough to answer them. 3rd, if I told you all the process, I would have to kill you all. But once again, I know why you're all here. You've come to hear one of my amazing stories of the past, didn't you? Stories of triumph and joy. Well, for me anyway. Very well. I suppose I could tell you all the story of how I caused a whole army of violent, brainless fools to get drunk and kill each other at the Battle of Karánsebes. Oh yes, my reign extends into other countries too. Did you all forget that the earth is mine to control? I do what I want, gosh. The year was 1788. The American Revolutionary War ended a few years prior, and events from the Western Hemisphere were starting to bore me. I decided to take my talents east into Turkey. I heard talks of a war happening which made my nipples hard, if I had any. Besides, I wanted some of that hot sand coffee. Of course, anything that has to do with heat is my specialty. But the way Turkish people make their coffee is fucking magic. Nevertheless, I was on the hunt for souls. So, I set my sights on the Austrian army, a beautiful disaster of conscripts, mercenaries, and officers who couldn't tell their left boot from their right. A true melting pot of incompetence. They were marching through the Balkans, and let me tell you, if you ever wanted to see an army that could self-destruct faster than a toddler left alone with a cake, this was it. Now, I'm not saying they were completely useless. No. They were quite excellent at 3 things: drinking, panicking, and dying. And I, the master of chaos, had just the right recipe to bring out all three in spectacular fashion. It started with a group of hussars, light cavalrymen who were supposed to be scouting ahead. Now these guys were about as good at their jobs as a blindfolded man playing darts. They stumbled upon some Romanian merchants selling schnapps, and instead of, I don't know, doing their actual jobs, they decided it was time for a good old-fashioned drunken brawl with their own liver. I didn't even have to intervene at first. They did this all on their own. But then, a few Austrian infantrymen showed up. These guys were not invited to the schnapps party, and when they asked for a sip, the hussars responded with, and I quote, "Go fornicate with a goat." Well, the infantry didn't take too kindly to this, so naturally, someone pulled out a musket. Because that's what you do when someone won't share their booze, right? One gunshot, that's all it took. Suddenly, everyone was shouting at everyone else and shooting. The officers, in their infinite wisdom, assumed they were being ambushed by the Turks. I mean, why wouldn't the Ottoman army disguise themselves as a drunken Austrian shooting wildly into the night? Perfectly logical conclusion. And this is where I stepped in. I whispered into the ears of a few particularly nervous soldiers. The Turks are here. They're in the trees. They've infiltrated your ranks. Run, you magnificent morons, run. Panic spread faster than gossip in a small town. Some officers tried to restore order by yelling, but their frantic shouting was mistaken for enemy battle cries. Cannons were fired. Entire regiments turned and ran. I swear, one guy got trampled to death by his own horse. Another jumped into the river and swam away screaming, "I'll never surrender," despite no one actually demanding his surrender. At some point, the commanding officer of this sorry excuse for an army tried to figure out what the hell was happening. He arrived just in time to see his own troops setting up defensive positions against other units of his own troops. One side started screaming, "Turks," while the other side screamed, "What? Where?" And just like that, the battle reaches climax. Austrians versus Austrians, in a spectacular display of friendly fire and poor decision-making. By the time actual Ottoman scouts arrived the next day, they found the battlefield littered with Austrian corpses, abandoned weapons, and a single drummer boy still beating his drum in confusion. The Ottomans took one look at this scene, shrugged, and promptly occupied the town without firing a single shot. And that, my dear listeners, is how an entire army defeated itself. Now you might be wondering, Satan, did you really have to get involved? Couldn't they just ruined everything on their own? And the answer is probably. But where's the fun in that? I've orchestrated plenty of disasters in my lifetime. But the Battle of Karánsebes? Oh, that one was special. A perfect storm of idiocy, paranoia, and schnapps-fueled carnage. Honestly, it still makes me giggle just thinking about it. And that, my dear sinners, concludes tonight's tale. Now go forth, drink irresponsibly, make terrible choices, and remember, whenever you do something incredibly stupid, just know I might be standing right behind you, cheering you on. That's all the precious time I have today for you fools. If you like what you heard, please feel free to follow me if you're not doing that already. And please tell your friends about me. Advertising can be such hell.